After a decade in finance and banking, the one thing I kept seeing over and over was this: people earning decent money, but feeling completely lost when it came to their own finances. Not because they weren't smart, but because nobody had ever walked them through the basics in a way that made sense. So that's exactly what this video is: a complete financial glow up from overwhelmed in control.
We're going to cover budgeting, the 50-30-20 rule, emergency funds, debt payoff strategies, and setting your goals.
Let's dive in. Number one, how to build a budget. I know. That word makes a lot of people switch off immediately. It sounds restrictive, boring, like you're signing up to never have fun again. Only 59% of Americans feel confident enough to even create a budget. And I'd argue that's not because budgeting is hard. It's because nobody ever showed them how to do it properly. Without a budget, saving just becomes something you hope happens at the end of the month. First, note down your income, exactly how much money you're working with each month. Your notes app, paper, whatever works. If you're an employee, don't take your annual salary and divide by 12. That's not what hits your bank account. Use the amount after taxes, after all deductions, the real number that actually arrives in your account. Also add other income, side hustles, freelancing, dividends, rental income, everything coming in. Example: job pays $2,350 after tax, plus $250 from freelancing. Your total monthly income is $2,600. Quick note on retirement: if your 401k or pension contributions come out before your paycheck, add them back into your income. It gives you a more accurate overview of all your money so you can make better plans for your future. And if you're self-employed, minus your estimated taxes before adding income. Don't budget on fake numbers. Next, download your bank and credit card statements. Get everything in one place. Then, go through spending line by line. This is where I introduce the 3-bucket framework. And honestly, once you see money this way, you can't unsee it. Bucket 1, fundamentals: rent or mortgage, groceries, car payments, utilities, insurance, bills. Bucket 2, fun: eating out, clothes beyond essentials, streaming services, gym memberships, weekend plans. Bucket 3, future you: emergency fund, extra debt payments, retirement contributions, investing. Most people haven't looked at spending this way. But once you do, it becomes very obvious where the leaks are. And now the 50-30-20 rule. You might have heard of this one. If not, here's exactly what it means: 50% of your take-home pay to fundamentals, 30% to fun, and 20% to future you. Now, if your fundamentals are taking up 60%, 70%, or even 80%, take a breath. That's not a personal failing. This rule became popular 20 years ago when rent was lower, energy bills were lower, and money went further. A split like 65-20-15 or even 70-20-10 might make a lot more sense for where you actually are right now. Instead of treating it as a rule you must follow, treat it as a starting point to work towards over time. What it's really useful for is spotting imbalances. If almost all income goes to fundamentals, there's very limited room for goals. If your fund spending is higher than you realized, go through each item and work out what's actually worth it. I'm not saying cut everything you enjoy, but if expenses are high, small changes add up faster than you think. Canceling subscriptions you forgot you had. Being more intentional about impulse purchases. That money goes straight to future you. One bonus tip for US viewers: if you're paying credit card balances in full each month, rewards cards can actually work in your favor. But only if you pay them in full every month. If not, the interest completely cancels out any reward. And now, the future you bucket. This is where most people feel the most overwhelmed. Emergency fund, debt, saving for a house, investing for retirement, all at once. If you're starting from scratch, that's genuinely overwhelming. So let's talk about what to prioritize and in what order. First up, basic emergency fund. Without emergency savings, you're one unexpected bill away from derailing everything you've built. Car repair, medical bills, home repair, these can easily cost $500 to $1,000 or more. And without savings, that's credit card debt. An emergency fund is a financial circuit breaker. It stops one bad week from becoming 6 months of setbacks. You might be tempted to aim for $10,000 or 6 months of expenses straight away. That can actually work against you. Instead, start with 1 month of your core expenses, just fundamentals. That one number can cover most short term surprises. And once you hit that first milestone, the momentum you get from it is really, really powerful. Now, here's something that surprises people. Depending on your situation, it might make more sense to tackle debt before the emergency fund. If you've got high interest credit card debt, it's growing every single month, whether you're paying attention or not. While you're slowly saving toward your first month of expenses, and your debt could be getting bigger in the background. In that case, put the money toward debt first. Reduce the interest piling up. Free up more income faster. Which should you do first? That depends on your debt, and that's exactly what we're covering next. Part 4, paying off debt. The first thing I want you to do is write down your total balances and interest rates. I know that can feel really uncomfortable. A lot of people avoid this because seeing the full picture is overwhelming. But the number doesn't get smaller by ignoring it, it gets bigger. Once you can see everything clearly, you can make a plan. And that's when it stops feeling scary and starts feeling manageable. There are two main strategies. The first, the avalanche method. You pay extra toward the highest interest rate debt first, while paying the minimum on everything else. Once that's cleared, move to the next highest, and so on. This is the one I'd recommend for anyone with high interest credit card debt, which in the US can be 20% or more. The second is the snowball method. You focus on the smallest debt first, regardless of interest rate. Once that's gone, you roll that payment into the next smallest. The psychological win from clearing that first debt keeps you going. Neither method is wrong. If you're motivated by logic and numbers, avalanche. If you need to feel progress quickly, snowball. What really matters, pick one and stick to it. The worst thing you can do is pay debt randomly and hope for the best. Even an extra $50 or $100 a month directed at your highest priority debt makes a real difference over time. Every time you pay something off, that money doesn't disappear. It becomes available to put toward your next goal. One more USA tip: if your credit card interest is very high, look into personal loans or balance transfer cards with 0% intro APR. The goal is to lower your interest rate and not extend your debt. Read the terms carefully before you sign anything. Once you're on top of your debt, turn your attention back to building your full emergency fund. For a real money glow up, you want 3 to 6 months of your basic expenses saved. Spending $2,000 a month on rent, groceries, bills, and transport, aim for $6,000 to $12,000 in your emergency fund. Save more if you have children, if your income fluctuates, or if financial anxiety is something you struggle with. One last thing: where you keep your emergency fund actually matters more than most people realize. You want it accessible enough for genuine emergencies, but not so accessible you're tempted to dip into it for non emergencies. Look for a high yield savings account, penalty free withdrawals, no notice period, and your money actually earning interest while it sits there. Right now in the US, high yield savings accounts are offering between 4% and 5% APY, significantly better than a regular bank account. Platforms like Marcus by Goldman, Ally Bank, or Discover are all well regulated options worth looking at. My favorite tip: keep your emergency fund in a completely different bank account from your day to day spending account. It's still there when you need it, but you're not staring at the balance every time you check your day to day spending. That small bit of distance makes such a big difference. It removes the temptation to spend what isn't yours to spend. Number 6, setting your other goals. Once your emergency fund is in place and debt is under control, it's time to think about what you actually want your money to do for you long term. If buying a home is a goal, it might make sense to save your down payment in a tax efficient account. In the US, look into first time homebuyer programs, and some states offer down payment assistance and special loan programs. This is also where longer term investing starts to come into the picture, increasing retirement contributions, building real wealth. For most Americans, if you haven't maxed your Roth IRA for this year, that's often the best next step. With a Roth IRA, your investments grow completely tax free. You pay zero tax on withdrawals in retirement. And if your employer matches 401k contributions and you're not taking the full match, you're leaving free money on the table. The order: first, get the full employer match, then max your Roth IRA at $7,000 this year, then go back to the 401k. And for most people, low-cost index funds tracking the S&P 500 or global markets are the most sensible starting point. The real key is consistency. Even $100 a month invested consistently over decades becomes something genuinely significant. $100 a month invested at an 8% average return from age 25 by 65, you'd have over $350,000. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now, today, not next month. One important warning: as your income grows, resist the urge to immediately upgrade your lifestyle to match. That lifestyle creep is one of the biggest reasons high earners in the US still end up paycheck to paycheck. When you get a raise, direct a meaningful portion straight into savings and investments before you even see it. Because the goal isn't just to have more money, it's to become someone who has a healthy relationship with money. So let's quickly bring this all together: a complete financial glow up in 6 steps. 1, build your budget using the 3 buckets. 2, use 50-30-20 as a guide, not a rule. 3, build a basic emergency fund first. 4, tackle high interest debt using Avalanche or Snowball. 5, build your full emergency fund. 6, set your longer term goals and start investing for your future. You have everything you need to go from feeling overwhelmed by money to actually being in control of it. Your action step this week: just pick one thing from this video and do it today, not tomorrow, today. Thank you so much for watching. If this helped you, please share it with someone who needs it. And drop a comment below: where are you right now in your financial journey? I read every single one. Subscribe if you haven't already. We post practical money videos every single week designed to actually help.